You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WISS Daily News Roundup for Oshkosh Air Support, 98.3 FM and 1100 AM.
For 98.3 and 96.5 WISS News, I'm Lisa Hale. Another Democrat has announced a run for Wisconsin governor. Missy Hughes, who until recently was the secretary of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. Savannah Tomei-Olson has details.
Hughes has served as secretary and CEO of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation since 2019. She left her post about a week and a half ago, rumored to be entering the gubernatorial race. Here's how her first campaign ad released this morning begins.
I'm Missy Hughes. There are a few things you need to know about me.
Missy's a Democrat who understands the economy.
She spent years growing Wisconsin businesses
and worked to strengthen main streets across Wisconsin.
The biggest thing, I'm running for governor.
Hughes emphasizes her business background and says that is what sets her apart.
I spent 17 years as a dairy industry executive, growing Organic Valley to $1 billion in sales and keeping Wisconsin family farmers on their land.
The field of Democrats running just keeps growing, and now we can add Hughes to the list, along with Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, State Senator Kelda Roys, State Representative Francesca Hong, and Milwaukee businessman Ryan Sternad.
The recently passed state transportation budget included increases to the state highway rehabilitation program. Community leaders in Oshkosh held a press conference Monday to call attention to the need for long-term funding for Wisconsin's transportation system in order to keep projects on schedule. Oshkosh Mayor Matt Mugerauer said guaranteeing funding for improvements and maintenance of state highways that run through municipalities is not a partisan political issue.
It's not going to be a surprise that the cost of everything continues to go up. And so funding needs to keep pace with the cost to fund these construction projects and keep them on schedule. We need more, and we think the residents of Oshkosh and communities like Oshkosh throughout the state want more investment in these roads, and they deserve it.
Debbie Jackson, Executive Director of Transportation Development of Wisconsin, speaking after the press conference, said municipalities rely on the state staying on schedule with its projects.
These municipalities and the state absolutely have to coordinate. It makes no sense to have a city rip up a road, do the infrastructure underneath, and then have the state come by and fix it later.
In addition to city leaders, state lawmakers were also on hand. Senator Kristen Dassler-Alfheim.
Roads, infrastructure, they really are the lifeblood of our communities and our economy. It is essential that we see investment as really not just an opportunity but an obligation.
Representative Lori Palmieri.
All of us need to work together to continue to get these projects done on time.
The Revitalize effort continues throughout Wisconsin with similar road tours in communities around the state. With fall comes falling gas prices. The average price for a gallon of gasoline in Wisconsin is down over 6 cents from last week to $2.82 a gallon. Nationally, the prices have fallen 5.8 cents to $3.08 a gallon. Patrick DeHaan, the petroleum analyst at Gas Buddy, says seasonal factors such as switching to winter blends and falling demand are the primary causes for the decrease. In Green Bay, gas is down 8 cents a gallon this week to $2.80. The price in Appleton is down to $2.78 a gallon, and in Oshkosh, the average price is $2.85 a gallon. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul joined a coalition of states blocking the Trump administration from defunding Planned Parenthood last week, as Wisconsin's chapter is scheduled to pause abortion services starting Wednesday. AG Kaul and Governor Evers are casting the blame at Wisconsin's Republican Congressional Caucus, including Republican U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany, who announced his bid for governor last week, and Representative Derek Van Orden, who is seeking re-election. The newest test scores for Wisconsin kids aren't great, and they're even worse for kids of color. Stuart J. Waddles has the story.
The latest test scores from the State Department of Public Instruction show major racial and income gaps once again. Just 18% of black students reached expectations in English, compared to over 61% of white students. The new data shows only about half of all public school students are hitting the mark for English and math. State Superintendent Jill Underley says the test scores matter, but they don't show the challenges students bring to school, like worries at home and mental health struggles.
The Wisconsin Department of Health Services has reported another significant increase in the number of calls for falls in 2024. According to a recently released report, emergency crews responded to over 140,000 calls for residents who were hurt in a fall. The total is nearly 10,000 higher than in 2023 and over 35,000 higher than in 2019. DHS officials say the state's aging population is a contributing factor in the increased number of falls. Wisconsin also has the highest fall death rate among older adults in the country. Lisa Hale for 98.3 and 96.5 WISS News. For news anytime, visit WISS.FM.
The Bucks without Giannis. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with Sports NBA. The Bucks held their media day to kick off their season, but Giannis Antetokounmpo not there. He's in quarantine in Greece after testing positive for COVID. On a Zoom call, Giannis asked how he feels about missing the start of training camp.
Definitely disappointed, bummed out that I'm not able to be there with the team, and just like, as a leader, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about this, but at the end of the day, this is life. But at the end of the day, I think they will understand. If I'm not there today to see them, I'll be there in a few days, and we get the ball rolling.
College football, the Wisconsin Badgers have a rough schedule ahead with games against Iowa, Ohio State, and this Saturday they travel to Michigan.
Our ability to maintain and sustain some consistency as we continue to push and grow is going to be every bit as important as anything else.
That's the Badgers head coach Luke Fickell. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. There's a new King of the Hill at the theater. Dolly Parton fans, especially those who are headed to Las Vegas later this year to see her live, will not be happy to hear that the singer is postponing multiple Vegas shows. Dolly Live in Vegas was announced in June and was supposed to run from December 4th through the 13th at Caesars Palace. The country icon posted on social media that her doctors have told her she needs a few medical procedures, but she did not give details. In the post, Parton made it clear she is not ready to retire and wants to be at her best when she returns. Stay tuned. The only way Taylor Swift will be at this year's Super Bowl will be if she's cheering for Travis Kelce, which would mean the Chiefs end up making yet another appearance. Sigh. Swift announced over the weekend that she will not take the gig for the Super Bowl halftime show. Yahoo Sports reports the NFL failed to meet Swift's demands, adding that the NFL is strict about dictating terms for Super Bowl halftime performers. Here's one of Pete's picks. I was late to the party with the original Dexter, but really enjoyed all 8 seasons. I'm really enjoying Dexter Resurrection. The show has the same mystery of its first incarnation, as well as the solid writing, but the Dexter character has evolved into a caring father, which complicates things for a serial killer. The talented cast that surrounds Michael C. Hall includes Neil Patrick Harris, Eric Stonestreet, Peter Dinklage, and Uma Thurman. It's worth a look. And in news almost nobody over 30 cares about, Selena Gomez and her fiancé, Benny Blanco, tied the knot after their 2-year courtship. The wedding took place last Saturday in California. Gomez announced the news on Instagram over the weekend. Taylor Swift was the flower girl and Martin Short was the ring bearer. Other celebrities who attended included Paris Hilton, and there were some celebs with talent who attended as well, including Steve Martin, Ed Sheeran, and Paul Rudd. There's a new King of the Hill at the theater. A big-time director, an all-star cast, and excellent reviews could not keep one battle after another from the top spot at last week's box office. The Paul Thomas Anderson-directed film that stars Leo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Regina King, and Benicio del Toro opened at the top with $22 million and $48.5 million worldwide. It also set a record as the highest-grossing open of Paul Thomas Anderson's career. Last week's number 1, Demon Slayer: Infinity Castle, dropped to number 3 this past weekend with a haul of $7.1 million at the gate. Coming in at number 2 was G-rated Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, which brought in $13.7 million. The Conjuring Last Rites came in 4th place with just under $7 million this week. It's 5th in theaters. And finishing at number 5 was another new release, horror flick The Strangers Chapter 2, which finished at just under $6 million. Lots of good variety at the box office and more to come. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny today with a high right around 74 this afternoon. Tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with a low dropping into the low to mid 50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high of 72. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 64.
That's your WISS Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WISS.FM. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.